The League One promotion race is absolutely bonkers this year. There's so much going on and there's so many teams doing so well. We could see the requirement to get into the top 6 being 80 points, which would be really, really high. And we could see teams finish 3rd and 4th with such high amounts of points that they get promoted in any other season automatically. This is the breakdown of the top 8 in League One, and we're going to have a look at which 3 teams might get promoted this year. Do make sure as ever to drop a like. We'll go for 123 likes on this video. Do make sure to subscribe if you like your League One content, and let's go through it team by team. So then, in the most recent results, we did see Peterborough United beat Shrewsbury Town, and you just feel like Peterborough United might have just shook Shrewsbury off a little bit because Shrewsbury have played a game more, and I'd maybe say Peterborough are the cut-off point for who can get into that top 6 now. It's not impossible Shrewsbury or Portsmouth could, but realistically, with the way these teams are going, Peterborough are the last team I think that have a chance. With 10 points in their last 5 games, Peterborough United are churning out around 2 points per game, which is obviously very, very good and might be enough to get them in there at the end of the season. As I say, that win over Shrewsbury was crucial, and it's wins only at this point. Honestly, wins will only be enough for Peterborough as they are the team playing catch-up. They are currently 7 points off that top 6 with a game in hand on Derby. They've got 2 games in hand on Bolton, who they're 9 points behind. So Peterborough United may be in a little bit of a false position with those games in hand needing to be played out. Peterborough United, obviously a fantastic team when it comes to going forward. They can score enough goals to break into that top 6. Will they, is the question. 7th place, Wycombe Wanderers. Now, Wycombe Wanderers won a crucial game against Fleetwood most recently, and it's got them to within touching distance of that top 6. They're 4 points off with a game in hand on Derby County, 6 points off Bolton with 2 games in hand on them. So Wycombe Wanderers, with a good run of form, will get in there with a couple of teams faltering just above them. Obviously, there's been a big change at Wycombe Wanderers with Gareth Ainsworth's departure, but they've got that big win against Fleetwood, and it's got to be a platform to go off. I think if they were to win 8 of those 12 games remaining, they will get in there. 7 could be enough, but once again, it'll all depend on what the teams above them do. Wycombe Wanderers also have a fighting chance. Derby County now find themselves in 6th place, which is absolutely crazy. We were talking about how brilliant their form was just a couple of weeks ago, but it's just 4 points in 4, and now they're looking over their shoulder just to wrap up a top 6 finish. They are now currently 13 points off that top 2, and with just 11 games to go, playoffs are probably going to be the limit for Derby County this season. Obviously, with the top 6, you still get a chance of being promoted. Derby County need to get over the line though, but like I say, Wycombe and Peterborough on their tail. They need to go back to winning ways, but it is 3 defeats in 3 in their last 3 away games. It's a similar story with Bolton Wanderers, who have also just picked up 4 points in their last 4, and now they're looking over their shoulder rather than looking up the division. Bolton are 11 points off that top 2, having played a game more than Plymouth Argyle. So with 10 games to go, I just cannot see Bolton Wanderers getting into that top 2. I think Bolton Wanderers fans now know it's just a case of wrapping up that top 6. I think 5 wins out of the final 10 could be enough for Bolton Wanderers, but once again, it's going to come down to how the other teams perform. It could be a season where 80 points is the requirement, so Bolton might need to win 6 of their final 10, which could be tricky considering they've picked up 4 points in their last 4. Now, Barnsley are on the same amount of points as Bolton Wanderers, but their form is much better, and they've got 3 games in hand, so they're certainly looking up the table. With Barnsley being unbeaten in 9 and their most recent game being a win over Portsmouth at home, I could see them winning their 2 games in hand on Plymouth Argyle, which would shut the gap to 5 points between them two. Bear in mind, Barnsley's next game is Plymouth Argyle at home, and Plymouth are much better when they're at home. This feels like it could be the biggest game in the League One season, with it being such a massive 6-pointer, and with Ipswich being in the middle, you feel like Barnsley have got to win this one to be taken seriously in the automatic promotion battle, and it's not impossible. Barnsley are in brilliant form. Can they get back to the Championship? In 3rd place are Ipswich Town, and it's 4 wins in 4 for them. They are back to being brilliant. You just wonder if Ipswich didn't have that wobble in the middle of the season where they lost a couple games and drew quite a few, they'd be in that top 2 now going into the homeward stretch. But never mind, 4 wins in 4 and they've got a chance. With 3 of Ipswich's 4 defeats being on the road this season, you feel like Ipswich have really got to improve on the road if they're going to bridge that gap to Plymouth Argyle. They've both played the same amount of games. Ipswich are 5 points behind them. If you look at the last 4 games, Ipswich have been doing better, but in their last 2 games, they've both won them. It could be a very frustrating situation here for Ipswich, where they're going to have to be very patient, because there could be a lot of weeks where they win, but they make up no ground because Plymouth Argyle keep winning. They'll obviously be keeping an eye on Barnsley playing Plymouth, but at the same time, Ipswich have got to go away to 5th place Bolton, so it's going to be very tricky for them this weekend too. Like I say, Ipswich have won 4 in a row, and you just feel like the way this League One season's going, Ipswich might need to win 10 of their final 11 to actually get into the top 2. 2. It's going to be very, very tricky, but Ipswich are a team with the capability of doing it. On to second place, and it's still Plymouth Argyle. They're still hanging on in there, and they've still got that 5-point buffer over Ipswich Town, and what a result it was against Derby County. They did fall behind, but they showed great determination to come from behind and win, and that's now 49 points they picked up at Home Park this season, which is incredible. But like I say, it's an away trip to Barnsley next, and it's absolutely massive. It does feel like a massive must not lose for Plymouth because they don't want Barnsley to make up any ground on them, but obviously if they draw, then Ipswich will still make up some ground if Ipswich win. Like I say, that win against Derby was massive because they've kept that buffer for now. However, if Plymouth Argyle were to actually win at Oakwell, then that would put the cat amongst the pigeons, and it would feel like it might just be a shootout between Ipswich and Plymouth Argyle. At this moment in time, I'm just leaning towards Plymouth as my favourites for second place. The bookies are still with Ipswich, but I also wouldn't blame anyone for picking any of these teams in second, third or fourth. And then still top of the tree are Sheffield Wednesday. Yes, they're on the same points as Plymouth Argyle now, but they have got 2 games in hand. Sheffield Wednesday are still the best away side in League One this season and the second best home side. And as I say, you put that together and Sheffield Wednesday are top of the table. Like I say, this unbeaten run stretches for ages. Although a lot of the teams behind Sheffield Wednesday are winning a lot of games at the moment and trying to keep the pace with Sheffield Wednesday, I still fancy Sheffield Wednesday to win the league. Obviously, if Sheffield Wednesday were to go on a little bit of a wobbly run, then they could get sucked back into it, but I think they're going to keep up their brilliant form. Despite a lot of the rest of the top 6 being in brilliant form, I think ultimately it might only just delay the inevitable coronation of Sheffield Wednesday as League One champions. Do share your thoughts down below, guys. I'm fascinated to hear your thoughts if you support one of these teams, and if you don't support one of these, I'm fascinated to see your thoughts as an outsider. That's my opinion, guys. Do make sure to drop a like, do make sure to subscribe. It's absolutely fascinating, and it will continue to be until May. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.